Welcome to the Thriving series. I'm so happy today to be joined by Heather McAbee,
Hi, Aimee.
repatterning practitioner, amongst many other things. So, Heather, why don't you just start off with telling us a little bit about what it is you do, and you can get into how you started doing this. But since I know you, I know that what you do for work is all about thriving. So let's kick off with
Yes.
that.
Yes. My business is called Shifting Sands. It's a holistic healing business. And inside of that, I help people erase the beliefs that keep them from love, connection, and money.
Mm, wow. And I
Who
love,
doesn't want more of those three?
oh, absolutely. And I love the name of your business too, Shifting Sands. It just gives that feel that like nothing is permanent, especially if there's
Yes.
something that we want to shift. I love that.
Yes. Thank you. Because
Yes.
that is actually part of the whole naming of it. One of the things that I've thought with that name is a lot of people come to me when they're in the dunes, when the sands are stuck
Mm,
and there's things growing on top of it. And so we kind of pull them out of the dunes and then we start to build sandcastles.
mm,
And what kind of life do you want to create yourself now that you're out of these stuck patterns? So we'll build some sandcastles and then the ocean can come in and take it out for infinite possibility.
what a great visual. That's I think you've arrived with your
Thanks.
name and tied to what you do. It's magical.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So I know that your business is likely born from your own desire to thrive more.
True.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us kind of how
Yeah, some
about?
background on me. I was raised with an abusive alcoholic father, and he was in the house until I was about 12 years old. In that amount of time, I experienced nearly every form of abuse by him. And I ended up with these physical manifestations even after he wasn't living in the house anymore. I was getting these awful stomach aches. I threw up all the time. And a lot of the time it would happen at like 5 p.m. And we figured out that that's the time he would be coming home from work. And so my body was physically reacting every day with these stomach aches because I was expecting him to be walking in the door. And we never knew what mood he would be in, if he would be charming or if he would be angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I started having my own children. I actually tried to kind of back up a little bit. I tried a lot of different forms of therapy and I just wasn't making the progress that I wanted to make. I wasn't thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had my own children. My son had extreme anxiety, and I knew I had it. I was diagnosed with anxiety. I was diagnosed with depression. I was taking medication for them. Then I bring this little baby into the world, and he doesn't stop crying. And I can't figure out how to help him. It was really, really hard. And I started reading these books about how my anxiety can transfer onto my children. And so I knew that I needed to be better. I needed to heal me so that I could help him. And then I started hearing about generational trauma patterns, how it's in our DNA, all of these different things. I ended up taking a session with a woman who did holistic healing work, which is one of the modalities that I have inside of Shifting Sands. And in one session, in 60 minutes, we landed on an experience at 6 of when I had experienced abuse. And I developed a belief system inside of me of I'm not worthy. And once we hit that, I just started sobbing. And it was like for the first time in my life, it was almost like relief though,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm actually being understood right now. I'm being seen, I'm being heard.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I realized all these areas of my life, love, connection, and money,
Yeah.
health, all these areas of my life that were affected by that one belief. I knew I had to learn more. And so I started taking the courses and off I went. And I think it's been over 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That so one thing I wanted to just preface that I think many people sometimes have trouble with or have a hard time giving themselves permission. Should I do this for me? Instead I should be taking care of others. And what you hit on with your son and
Yeah.
the anxiety he was experiencing, partly through what you were experiencing and he was experiencing it, and you knew that in order to help him, first you needed to help you. And I feel like that's just something I wanted to highlight for any of us at any time when we feel like, oh, it's selfish of me to do this or that. The way to help anyone else is to embody that very thing that we want for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you could, like, I'm still like, I've got goosebumps when you're talking about the experience when you were 6, and in that 60-minute session, so much broke loose, and what was tied to worthiness and the element of thriving, about knowing that you're heard and you're seen.
It's invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all searching for it.
Absolutely. All the
We
time, I think,
just want
right?
to be heard. We just want to be seen. We just want to be loved for who we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those underlying patterns of I'm not worthy play into all of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, into everything, like, how does I'm not worthy come into a relationship?
Yep.
With people, with money, with all of it, with health.
That session that I was telling you about, I actually went into because I was having trouble in my marriage.
Mhm.
And so that was the problem that we started with.
Yeah.
But the reason for the problem was an event at 6.
Yeah.
And the feeling and the belief that occurred because of that event. And so all of those pieces of past hurt, when they're still stuck in there, when they're in those dunes, they're affecting these layers 30 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a part of you knew that you wanted to thrive. You knew that you didn't want to, or that you maybe even couldn't continue the way, everything that had led you up to that point. You didn't want to continue in that way.
I think couldn't was a really great word for how I felt. I could not see my kids experience any of the things that I'd been through.
Yeah.
And I could feel pieces of me that would want to react really angry to them.
Yeah.
And it scared me. I didn't want to be like my dad. It was literally couldn't. I cannot pass this on. I cannot continue this. I have to stop these generational patterns.
Yeah.
It's like I drew a line in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
It ends with me. There's no more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So powerful. Oh my gosh. So here you are, how many years later from that, like, like that was a moment in time that you are forever changed from, and like, that's like you said, that's a line in the sand. That's how many years since then? How far out now?
February 2014 is when I started the training for repatterning.
Yeah.
So we're December 2022.
Yeah. So you'll be coming on an anniversary of
Yes.
your beginning of this training.
Yeah. And so within that time, I've since added in 6 other modalities. So I am doing repatterning work, but I bring in all these other layers so that I can follow and move with the client on how they need to process and move through their own session. What layers they're ready to shed off of those sand dunes, where they're ready to start building a new life. And it's a really lovely way of integrating everything in a deep way, but also in a really gentle way.
Yeah. Deep and gentle. So nice to have
Yeah.
those hand in hand.
Yes. It's a nice combination. Very nice.
Yeah. Which I feel is like, that's just the energy I get from you, Heather.
Oh, thanks.
You have that in your presence and in your desire for others. Yeah.
I want others to thrive. I want others to be able to break generational trauma patterns as well.
Yeah.
I also got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And my studies of that is it's unhealed trauma.
Mm.
The adrenaline and the cortisol that get released, especially in childhood trauma, they look like razor blades under a microscope.
Wow.
And so if you can imagine a razor blade, what it would do to a piece of paper, shreds it. And then if you can imagine that happening inside someone's body, to their muscles, to their bones, to their joints, it's excruciating. And that's how I felt. I was debilitated physically and mentally, emotionally. Just I was tired, I was exhausted, I was in pain. And all of my diagnoses are gone now because I've cleared all of them by clearing the trauma.
What's
And my
possible?
son hardly has anxiety. I mean, it's just like, yes, what's possible is, it is possible to really thrive.
Yes. We are not stuck.
We are not.
The sands can shift.
Yes.
You are an example of that. People you work with are an example of that. What do you do for yourself now? Like on a daily basis or on a, kind of this, how do you integrate thriving? What does that look like for you now?
I've been doing more meditation now than I ever have. That's where I can quiet myself down and find peace. And I find that if I don't do that, even for short periods throughout the day, then I wake up in the night. It's like I don't allow myself the permission during the day to have quietness and allow ideas to come through and whatever needs to come through. And so then I wake up in the night when I'm finally quiet and they come through. So I'm being a lot more conscious about giving myself the space during the day to do that so that I can be centered for my clients and better for my family and myself.
Right. I like that as a practice of like not just thinking of meditation as like, okay, here's what it looks like for this one period of time during the day. And it's got these parameters that you have discovered that for you and you're thriving, it's very helpful to have little bits of it here and there.
It's really good for me. I give myself about 20 minutes in between clients.
Yeah.
And there's, I guess I won't say often, but there are many times when it's tough to facilitate because there's a lot of trauma that comes through. And so I have to give myself those few minutes so that I can be fully present for my next client.
Yes. And in doing so, you know that you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels
You
so
continue
good.
to do.
I don't want to come out of it.
Yeah. You continue to do exactly what you did in the situation with you and a newborn son. How you care for you is how you care for, and you do that with your clients. Yes. Yes. That you give yourself that space so that you are fully there so that they can then experience that too.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so moving into the new year, thinking of your own thriving, thinking of, your family, thinking of the people you work with, any and all of it. What's your vision for the new year? What's your spark?
My goals for the new year personal goals are to stay more up to date on just personal finances and things like that. Like, I know how much money I make and how much I spend, but I like to be more organized about it. So that is something that lacked in 2022 because I was so busy. I have a new training that I'm doing. It's internal family systems.
Ooh,
And I do have some training in that, but I'm going to be fully certified by the end of 2023.
that's
I have an
great.
international retreat in April that I'm hosting in Mexico.
Ooh,
I
and the
have
name of
so
that
many
is
fun things. What's that?
the name of that retreat or the
It is called
intention?
Consciously Connected. Design and align your life.
Ooh, well, that sounds like a great theme for the new year.
Yes, that is a perfect theme for the new year. Very excited about 2023.
Yeah,
We will thrive.
we will thrive. Oh my goodness. Oh, my friend, it's always so good to spend time with you. I
You
feel,
too.
I feel the way that you do that, that you do take care of yourself in that thriving manner, in your presence. And I am just so appreciative of you in my life and everything that you do. And just knowing that you are out there and you offer this to the world. Is there anything that you feel like you would like to kind of wrap this up with, or presence, in regards to all of this and in regards to thriving?
You can change your stars. We have these ideas of what we think life is based on how we grew up, based on the people that we know, the people that we associate with, our grandparents, our tribe. But if it's something that you want to change, it is possible. And it's possible within you. And you can do it.
Yes. Yes. That feels so good.
Good.
Oh, well, wishing you all the best in 2023. Looking forward to all that you have to offer, and looking forward to just everything that you continue to share out in the world, in the shifting sands that you create.
I appreciate you so much, Aimee. I think you're just lovely. And thank you for this opportunity to come on your show and speak to your audience as well.
Oh, thank you. I know I know it will be so well received.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here's to your thriving, our
Good.
thriving.
And to yours.
Cheers.